Our reaction to qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's get into Q1 then, first and foremost. And the massive story to talk about here is, of course, Alpine being the slowest team on the grid, at least for round one of the season. Now, they've gone from a team that we have seen in Drive to Survive. They have aspirations of being in the top 4, top 3, fighting for podiums. And they have come out the blocks 19th and 20th, which is absolutely wild. We did suspect that they were quite slow in testing, but we thought, no, surely they're not going to be slower than Haas, maybe even sort of kick Sauber. But they were last. And it is a disaster for them. They're basically putting a McLaren cosplay on from last year, aren't they? And being the team that's shocking everyone at being the slowest.
Wow, that car looks so bad. I remember seeing a few tweets saying, oh, it looks like Alpine could genuinely be the worst car. I remember being like, no, surely not. Like, they might be bad. And I thought they maybe would be fighting to get into Q2, which would have been a disaster. But to be last, 19th and 20th, is wild to say that, this is a team that, like I say, Ocon and Gasly got podiums last year, and they're just falling and tumbling backwards.
Question from the Castaway DC. Is Alpine looking for a way to have a negative amount of paint on now? I want Drive to Survive. I want Netflix round their houses right now filming what's going on, because I imagine it is an absolute S-storm there for them to roll out and genuinely be last. Like they're Ocon was half a tenth away from qualifying 16th, but then there's a bit of a jump to the likes of K-Mag and then those ahead of them. So they've got quite a bit of margin that they need to somehow close up, because it is quite close in that sort of midfield area with the Haas's and the RBs and the second driver of Aston Martin and things like that. This is not going to be an overnight fix, in my opinion.
I remember you saying to me when we watched Drive to Survive, being like, "Oh, two episodes of Alpine. That's a bit weird." I think probably be the whole series next season. Might be actually quite an interesting watch, because it's going to be chaos. How many people can they fire? We'll find out.
So the kick Saubers were also not particularly surprising. We thought that they would be around there. But Logan Sargent, 18th on the grid, and he was looking okay. He was within a tenth of Albon almost both times we looked at him in Q1 and Q2, but then seemed to, on that final run, not be able to put the lap time in that he required. To be 4 tenths off Albon, that's not the improvement we needed, was it?
No,
he needs to have those odd occasions where he outqualifies Albon. Always like, get within a couple of tenths. Why can't he just beat him once or twice? That's what he needs to do. James Vowles, who I would follow to the edge of a cliff and off it. You genuinely think, all right, James is hyping him up. He's giving him all of that confidence verbally, but he still hasn't been able to perform out the blocks, which is a shame for him.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's early days. It's only the first qualifying session of the year, but it is a big disappointment because, the first runs he was there or thereabouts with Albon, and yes, he should occasionally beat Albon, but even if he's there or thereabouts, you're like, okay, fair enough, you've made it and unlock the potential of the car, but there, like you say, there was that gap to slot into, and he's not done that. So big disappointment for Logie Bear, but hey, at least he's faster than some Alpines, eh?
Let's go to Q2 now then, shall we? But obviously the biggest talking point was Charles Leclerc going fastest in Q2. Not just purely because he was fastest, but something that will affect me for quite some time is the fact that Leclerc's Q2 time was quicker than the pole position time in Q3. So I'm going to be tossing and turning a little bit tonight, thinking about what could have been. However,
he's only bottled it.
But the biggest talking point was, of course, Nico Hülkenberg, I would say. Out of nowhere, just unbelievable. That the one lap pace of the Haas is still there. We all wrote them off. I am going to apologise wholeheartedly to Haas. I thought they were going to be terrible. I took Komatsu's words and I said, yeah, okay, I'll absorb that. Fine, they're going to be rubbish. And then they've gone and done that, Hülkenberg into Q3.
Yeah, we'll find out with Haas, of course. Hülkenberg had heroics last year. He was incredible. He got into Q3 so many times and delivered such amazing qualifying, but then it didn't have the car to deliver in the race. So let's hope that they've sorted out their tyre wear issues, because if they haven't, then that prediction of them finishing 10th could still well come true, because they're not going to score points if they've got to do like 8 pit stops because their tyres overheat. So yeah, we'll see with Hülkenberg. But look, Hülkenberg has a shadow over him that's unfair, that he's not got a podium, but he's shown so many times that he is a fantastic driver. He's won in everything he's competed in, minus Formula One, and has just, for whatever reason, not delivered that podium. But he's just shown so many times that he's a really quick and capable driver, and deserves to be in Formula One even now. Like, he's showing what he can do.
Let's move to Q3 then, shall we? And obviously the big talking point being that Max was fastest by just over 0.2 of a second from Charles Leclerc. But as I've reflected on, Leclerc could have definitely, absolutely, 100% categorically got pole position, but decided with his 10,000 IQ not to take pole because he wants to dive up the inside into turn 1. But yes, disappointing, I think, for a lot of fans. I think a lot of people were just clinging on, including myself, to the hope that Max wouldn't get pole straight out the blocks, but he did. It wasn't a gargantuan margin, so you definitely should continue watching the 2024 Formula One season. A lot of people joking, see you in 2025, see you in the new regulations in 2026, but Max delivered, and I think it's not the case of that Red Bull is miles clear in quali performance. It's that Charles didn't necessarily deliver a lap that could have taken pole, and then we would have a completely different chat going on right now.
And it is incredibly close. You look at the gaps, and it is funny that, I know it is a big margin now in Formula One, but 0.2, you'd have loved that back in the day, to be 0.2 off pole position. But that's now a massive gap, and yeah, the rest of the order is really, really close.
Question from P1CHL. Is the season over? No, everybody is on 0 points still. There's no points for pole, as I am very aware as a Charles Leclerc fan. We have got plenty of storylines to come this season. I cannot stress how much you need to cling on, okay? Formula One has painted a picture after 2021 that every season should go down to the wire with 0 points between the top 2 drivers. That is not what happens. When we have a great race and a great championship, it hits like no other. Yes, we should have maybe more competitive seasons, and that's a different topic and conversation to have. But it is not over. He's on pole by 0.2, not a second like Mercedes used to be. It is still close. Ferrari, for example, a reason that you should watch is because they have been saying their drivability and their race pace has actually improved. You've got the likes of McLaren as well that are a little bit further back, but Piastri had amazing race pace in free practice as well, in FP2 that was, I think. So there's plenty of storylines. I could go on for another 20 minutes about why you should watch Formula One in 2024. But no, the season is not over.
There's going to be loads of excitement. I do actually think Bahrain is a bit of an underrated circuit as well. You don't think of it as like a classic, but it provides good racing and good overtaking opportunities. So look, we've missed Formula One, and it's been gone for what feels like ages, even though it's just the winter break. So I will urge people to stop complaining already, because it's not even started yet.
Let's now follow with what is usually a question, but this is just a statement from Alex Berthagen. 9 cars within 0.5 is absolutely crazy. That's it, right? That, if you needed a reason to tune in tomorrow and for the rest of the season, that's it, right there. Max Verstappen was unbelievable last year. Let's not take it away from him. But there are still plenty of unknowns that can happen this year. We don't know about the race pace yet. Perez is down in 5th. It is not a given that Red Bull will run away with it. They might. And we can all console each other in the race podcast tomorrow. But right now, qualifying is still amazing. And I'm really looking forward to how tomorrow, as you say, with DRS, I love how they've done that. They've we can't really change the rules around the cars because we're changing the rules in 2026. So how can we make Max not get away so quickly? All right, DRS. DRS after lap 1. Okay, then Max will get away on the first lap and they'll go, right, DRS after the first sector. And then it'll be everyone can use DRS behind Max when going down towards turn 1, but not Max. You can just see that there'll be tweaks to the rules just to try and keep Max somewhere within that.
Yeah, or what will probably happen is Charles makes a move on Max into turn 1, and then we're all going, "Oh, why is the DRS already?"
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Like, change it, lap 10,
change
lap
it
10,
back,
lap 10.
change it back. Yeah.
Lap 10. Next question from Papaya Shauna. Why was Hamilton so much slower than George? Oh no. Let's just try and be level-headed here, okay? People that support Lewis Hamilton. George Russell has outwardly said that the car has been directionally changed towards what Lewis Hamilton wanted this year. The car's been moved, or the seat's been moved more rearwards because Hamilton wanted it. And George was saying all of these things that I then saw people then replying going, oh, well, he's just getting his excuses in early when Hamilton smashes him and this sort of stuff. And George Russell has done a fantastic job in qualifying. Mercedes only just scraped through to Q3, if you remember. And then for George to put it third on the grid, it is a sensational qualifying performance. I don't think you can take anything away from George there. Hamilton clearly struggled. Let's not jump to conclusions here. Mercedes have no reason to make Lewis Hamilton slower this year. They want it to be a harmonious thing to the last lap in Abu Dhabi, because why would they want anything else? They're trying to, as a team, claw back the deficit to Red Bull. Why would they waste any time that they have with a 7-time world champion
to improve
the car for 2025 and beyond? It just makes no sense. They wouldn't do it, and that's as simple as that, in my opinion.
Also, why is Hamilton so much slower, 0.2 in the end, which again highlights how close it is. 0.2 off your teammate, and it's 3rd versus 9th. It's not a huge gap, and I don't think it's worth sort of jumping on conspiracy theory things already, because people will just make their own narrative what they like based on what happened. But I would not be surprised if we get Saudi and it's completely the opposite.
Charlandos asks, is Hulk the GOAT? No, but he is a very good driver, and one that gets disrespected massively, memed heavily, just purely because of the non-podium stat, which continues to haunt him. But that, it's whenever we kind of joke about it, like that's just it's purely a joke and a meme. But there are genuinely people that believe that Nico Hülkenberg is a not a great driver, but he's won Le Mans. As you say, in the junior series, he was unbelievable as well. It's just not worked out for him. He has bottled big moments. Let's not move that away from that. But he is still a fantastic midfield driver, which is what we argued previously when Haas took him on, is that's what they need. But they also need to give him a car that doesn't destroy and cheese grate the tyres after 4 laps.
Yeah, it's to Hülkenberg's credit that he's done so many races in Formula One, and that, I guess, in a way, if you're not very good and you're not scoring podiums or whatever, you would be out the sport. But because he is good and has proved his talent, and Formula One teams keep taking him on because he is a really good driver and people can see he's a really good driver, he's just going to rack up more Grand Prix, and he's driving a Haas, so he's not going to score a podium. So unfortunately for him, that will just grow and grow unless there's some miracle. But he is a very, very good driver, and he just showed that again, like he did many times last year as well.
He certainly did, and that wraps up the first qualifying podcast of the year. Tommy, what are your final thoughts?
You won't be surprised to hear this, but I'm going to talk about Fernando Alonso and say what might have been if he maybe did his run at the end, because he was only 600ths off being P3. But it's still a very good performance from him. But yeah, I'm really excited for the race tomorrow, particularly with all those drivers so close. I cannot wait.
Let's see. It's going to be a fascinating race. We'll be live on Twitch. Right. As always, Matt P1 Tommy, come and join us tomorrow where we watch along to the Bahrain Grand Prix. We can't wait. And thank you as always for all the love and support. P1 live show tickets are available still for London, Cambridge and Bath. Links are all over our social media if you want to come and see us live. And we'll see you very soon. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.